Good afternoon. This first photograph is of Shelly James and Thomas. This was taken in June 16, 2012, during the 4th-month anniversary. The following photograph is 2 weeks later after Thomas assaulted Shelly James in her home. This was taken in the county by local authorities, and you can see that she was severely beaten. I believe that she was hit by a bag of metal trains and then with steel toe boots in the head repeatedly. She lost consciousness after a minute of the beating, and she woke up at the hospital a week later. At the moment of the accident, she was bearing twins, and unfortunately, she lost. And she stated that even though that he had beaten her before, it was never at this extreme, and this was a bad thing. And on the website sellyourstory.org, on March 7, 2024, Shelly James stated, "I was always aware of domestic violence, but never really gave it importance until this. It's real and it's a problem." So, domestic violence. Why do women stay? So, today we're going to discuss what is domestic violence overall, the definition and what it involves, and some statistics for women out there. Then we're going to look into the mind of a victim and see why they stay and how self-esteem plays a role into it. And then finally, we're going to look into how to help the victims and how can you tell if you're in an abusive relationship. So, what is domestic violence? Oxford Dictionary identifies it as violent or aggressive behavior within the home, usually involving a spouse or a partner. It could be verbal or physical. Verbal involving between name-calling, insults, threatening, and physical, any physical action used to hurt them, throwing, punching, slapping, etc. So some statistics. Every woman has 25% chance of being a victim, so it's pretty bad. A year, about 4.8 million cases are reported, and that's roughly only 25%. So the real number could be between 16 and 20 million. They really don't know. 85% of the victims are female. Only 15% are men. So the majority of the victims are female. Every 6 seconds here in the United States, a woman is beaten or assaulted. So it's pretty bad. So now that we looked into statistics and we define domestic violence, we're gonna go inside the mind and see why they choose to stay. So why victims stay? Low self-esteem. Our book, Looking In, defines self-esteem as the evaluation of self-worth. So people with low self-esteem are more, they're more believable of criticism. So if they're insulted or they're telling they're worthless or that they will never find no one else, they tend to believe it. That's the main reason why they stay. Another one is they're financially dependent on the abuser. 65% of all cases females are dependent on the abusers financially. So if they choose to leave, unfortunately they can't sustain themselves. They are afraid of consequences. Many times the abuser could test fear into them, telling them if they leave, there'll be consequences, hurting the child, their family members, killing themselves or killing them. And then most of them are not aware there is help out there. Yes, there's hotlines, and but it's not enough help for people. So they are afraid to look for alternative ways to get out. The Advocacy Center in 2006 rated fear as the #1 reason why women stay. Stating abusers often threaten to hurt themselves, their children, family members, etc. That makes the victim stay for protection for the loved ones. So they take the pain to protect the ones people they care about. Now that we see why people stay, now we're going to get into ways you could help or I could help. So ways you could help. There are national hotlines everywhere. Nationalhotline.org. The Advocacy Center for Domestic Violence.org is a good one. They're usually 24/7 and completely confidential. There's also a hotline you guys can call to report it at. It's 1-800-799-SAFE. It's very simple. You can report anything, or you can help the victims seek help from local groups. A lot of community groups offer help, little circles where you could tell your experience, and other members who were victims, they could help you out. So that really helps people. Provide alternative exits. That was the main one. That usually just means providing your home as a shelter, providing an ear even counts, your trust. Most victims do not go to a family member for help because they are embarrassed. It is embarrassing that you can't keep your partner happy. And then remind them they're not alone. The website they gave was sellyourstory.org, that thousands of women yearly post their stories of domestic violence. So if you could just show them that they're not the first ones to experience this, and then learn from their mistakes to exit this kind of relationship. And then signs that you're in an abusive relationship. The main signs is if you're afraid of your partner. If you're afraid of your partner, you're in an abusive relationship. That's what it comes to. Feel you deserve to be mistreated. Most victims feel like they deserve to get beat or they deserve to be verbally assaulted. They feel that way. If you feel this way, it might mean that you're in a domestic, in an abusive relationship. And then sometimes you avoid certain topics. You do not self-disclose because you're afraid of what might happen, the consequences. You feel hopeless. You don't know if tomorrow you're gonna wake up. You don't know if he's gonna hurt you. You don't know what's gonna happen the next day. And then if he blames you for his violent actions, whenever you guys fight or whenever he hits you, he says, well, it's your fault. You did it. You already did it. So that's one way. So now that we discussed the conclusion. So what we learned today is domestic violence affects 25% of all women. That's 1 out of 4 chances. Every woman has the same chance, 6 seconds. Many victims will stay victims for all the main reasons that we discussed: financially, fear, low self-esteem, etc. You will understand. Most will stay victims. About 66% of the cases, they will go back to the domestic partners and they will not leave until, unfortunately, something like Shelly happens. And also, do not be afraid of intervening. If you know someone that's in an abusive relationship, help them out. If you're yourself in an abusive relationship, seek help because it could get as worse than Shelly James. One example that I didn't put in there, but during the years of 2001 and 2002, the Afghanistan and Iraq War killed about 6,748 American soldiers during the time lapse of 11 years. During the same time lapse here in the United States, roughly 12,000 women have been killed by ex or current male partners. So that just tells you there have been more deaths for domestic violence here at home than a war abroad. So I believe that this is a very problem we have to fix first before we go and fix it anywhere else. So the conclusion is, for all the women out there, just understand that there is help, that you are not alone, and just that the odds are in your favor.